Uncharted is the latest video game to be adapted into a film, and it stars Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Did you guys know years ago when the Uncharted film was first being developed, I'm talking years ago, Mark Wahlberg was actually attached to the project, but to play Nathan Drake, not Sully. I bring that up because it's fascinating how long this movie has been in development, not necessarily because Mark Wahlberg says that he's aged out of the role of Nathan Drake. In my honest opinion, his portrayal as Sully would have been the exact same as his Nathan. We're about to dive into this review spoiler free, so if you haven't seen the film yet but you want to hear little tidbits and my thoughts, stay tuned. What's up everybody, welcome back to the Hess Project. I'm John Rodolaza, and today we're going to be talking about the new Uncharted film that stars Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Are they a dynamic duo? Look man, I'll say it, as a big Uncharted fan, I was pretty let down with this movie, and not because it should have followed the first video game beat for beat, because I want those games to be just adapted, because they're technically already like big movies, just, you know, CGI movies. They're so well made, they feel like a movie, and this had a lot to live up to because of how cinematic those games are. And I just felt like it really didn't live up to any of these games. Let's start off with Tom Holland. Look, I was kind of skeptical going in, gonna be honest, because all I knew him as was Spider-Boy and Cherry. So, I was a little skeptical, but I'm gonna be honest, he was trying very hard in this movie to win me over, and he did. I really like Tom Holland in the role of Nathan Drake. It did help him a little bit that he stepped up his game in No Way Home. I personally feel like that was a much needed performance for Tom Holland, because he kind of took that character that's a little silly like Spider-Man, and he matured him up a little bit. So I can kind of see him in the role of Nathan Drake now, a little bit older. He doesn't feel like a baby face. He still has a baby face though, I'll be honest, but he just feels more mature playing this character, and I like it. I bought into his Nathan Drake, and I'm okay with it. Wow, we're already here. Okay, so Mark Wahlberg as Sully is just not Sully to me, dude. Like, from the get-go, the look of him is already not Sully, it's Mark Wahlberg. I already go into his films thinking, well, he's probably not gonna do a complete 180 with his character, he's just gonna be like the same old, same old. But dude, Mark is playing characters in action films with IP attached to them, not these sitcom characters that you can get away with playing the same person. After Tom Holland proved himself as a good Nathan Drake, the spotlight was on Mark Wahlberg to give me Sully, and he was just failing left and right in my opinion. Yeah, he's charming and he's funny in some of these scenes, but I wanted to see Nathan Drake and Sully, not Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg. With only a couple of exceptions in dialogue for Mark Wahlberg's character, like when he's running about chasing after Chloe, he stops and says, "You know, I can't be running out here, I got a bad ankle." And then he jokes about how he needs his glasses to read the map. Like, it's just subtle little dialogue exchanges that try to make him like Sully until they eventually make him like Sully in the post-credits scene. This is not a spoiler because it's in the trailer, and I'm telling you where it is in the movie. The scene where Mark Wahlberg, not Sully, where Mark Wahlberg comes to help Nate, and he's in the middle of a deal, and he comes in, points a gun at the guy that Nate's talking to. He turns around and Nate starts laughing at him. He's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It's puberty, kid, you'll hit it soon enough." And then it's just like showing a little mustache. That is an end credits scene, a mid-credits scene. I'll be generous. I hate to complain about this because I love Mark Wahlberg. I love his movies. I'm a big fan of his, and he's very funny, dude, but I just don't feel like he fit this build and fit in this movie at all. I don't think his Nathan Drake would have been any different from his portrayal of Sully. He feels like a Hollywood addition to this script that was unnecessary, which then leads me into like the overall plot and the whole movie. To be honest, I said what I said about Tom Holland's Nathan Drake, and I think he's the best part about the movie. He does the best with what he was given, and I like him, dude. I really like Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, but this movie is not Uncharted to me. Tell me down below in the comments, what do you think about when you think of the video game series Uncharted? I think about Nathan Drake out in the elements, out in the unknown, shooting guns, blasting at enemies that are shooting back at him. That's what I think about, and that's what we were thrusted into in the very beginning of the first first game. They did not need to explain his origin story. They didn't need to explain that he's inexperienced and that he's seeking out for his brother. There was a level of mystery to his character, but this movie feels so bogged down and tied down to chains. It feels like a dope Uncharted pirate ship being anchored down into the origin sea. It feels like it needs to explain itself, and I feel like ultimately it wastes its time. There's so much time given to Nathan Drake's backstory, and he's stumbling left and right. Like, he's not exactly the master thief that we know and love from the video games, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I like that we have our main character slowly learning things, but man, dude, there was just so much like origin stuff in here. It bogs down the movie for me. And dude, the thing that bugged me the most was the arguing back and forth with Chloe, Nathan, and Mark Wahlberg about untrustworthiness and double crossing. Like, that was so annoying, dude. This is the thing that I'm becoming less and less of a fan of with Hollywood films, dude. When they want to tell the story of the legend, which is the origin story, then they have to run into these obstacles where, oh, well, we have to explain this. Like, how does Sully and Nate gain each other's trust? Well, it starts off with them every 5 minutes just saying, you don't trust me? Give me the cross. You don't trust me? That decision to have the two go back and forth bickering about being trustworthy and whatnot made Mark Wahlberg's character even more unbearable than he already was. Damn, and to be honest, the score wasn't even that special either. Like, the score from the game is amazing, dude, and how they continuously elevate it and tweak it as the other games go along. And once we got to that fourth game, oh my God, dude, that score is amazing. But this score just felt like stock music to me, and that sucks because this is the composer who did, I believe, Iron Man and maybe Eternals. I know he did Game of Thrones. I forgot how to say his name, dude, but he's a really good composer. I've liked a lot of his work in the past, but nothing really stood out to me with his score for Uncharted, with the exceptions of when he sampled some of the game music. Okay, I mean, that's cool, I guess. Guys, in the end, Uncharted was a massive disappointment in my opinion, but I won't say it's a terrible film. It still has its shining moments. That third act really does save itself, and that's where the movie feels the most like Uncharted. The first 2/3 of the film is struggling. They're struggling to grab me. I was bored at times. Honest to God, I was bored, and that sucks, man, because this is one of my favorite video game franchises ever, and there's no reason why a movie adaptation of those games should be like this. So yeah, to say I was disappointed is kind of an understatement. I was massively underwhelmed, and I hope that we could get a chance to do this again, because like, I love the Uncharted games, man. I want to see these stories being told on the big screen, or at least versions of them, or stories of the same caliber. I want to give the studio its fair shot. I want them to make an Uncharted 2 so that they can bring us Nathan Drake back with Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg with a mustache. Just do it. Prove yourselves. Make a film better than this one. So guys, that is my review for the new Uncharted film. Let me know down below, are you planning on checking it out? If you're a fan of the games, you can still check it out. Like, there's some stuff in here that'll pop you as a fan, but man, it is a little bit of a letdown. If you were a big fan of, like me, with these games, then yeah, it's gonna frustrate you just a little bit. So leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Be sure to stick around, because I might drop a spoiler talk for this movie. Anyways, guys, there's a bunch of content coming to the channel, and there's always more to come.